Good morning, dear students. Today, let's start again our studies with the seventh chapter of our main course book, and the chapter's name is Glimpses of Past. There are three sections in this chapter: a baker from Goa, Coorg, and tea from Assam. So, let's start with the first section: a baker from Goa. So, glimpses of India. It will give us a little glimpse. Glimpse means short look, jhalak of India. A baker from Goa. This is a pen portrait, a brief sketch of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. It is about the traditional bakers in Goan villages. Now, the author tells this story. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. He says we often hear our elders. Reminiscing means remembering nostalgically. Nostalgia is a feeling when you remember your good old days and you become emotional of those memories of your past. That feeling is nostalgia. So, with that feeling, when we often hear our elders remembering those old days, about their old Portuguese days when there was the Portuguese colonies in Goa, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Portuguese bread is very famous in Goa. Their bread loaves very famous. So still we hear many a time our elders talking about those days. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished. Those days, most of the people used to eat those bread loaves. Maybe they are not there, but the makers are still there. Those who made those bread loaves, those are still there. We still have amongst us the mixers, the molders, and those who bake the loaves. Still, we can find in Goa those tools, those apparatus like mixers and molders, in which molding like fermentation is done for making bread, and those who bake the loaves, those people we can still find there. Those age old, time tested furnaces still exist. Those furnaces, those ovens in which the bread loaves were made, those are still there. They are very age old, they are time tested, but those furnaces, those ovens are still there. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. The fire is still lit, it has not been yet lit off, extinguished. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. In some places, we can still hear the bakers coming with carrying a traditional baker's bamboo stick, announcing that he has come, heralding his arrival in the morning. We can still hear sometime those jingles, and third mean those sound made by hitting that bamboo stick. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. Those who started that bread making, maybe those grandparents, parents are not alive, but their son are still carrying on that family profession. These bakers are even today known as Peder in Goa. Even today, those bakers are known as Peder Yes, they are called pader. Pader means the class of the bakers. A section of all the bakers is called pader. So they are still called pader there. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. The author tells that when he was a child, those bakers were not only bakers, they were their friend, their companion, their guide. He says about a baker that he used to come at least twice a day. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, in the morning when he sells the bread at that round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket, means after selling all the breads coming back. So, two times he would visit every day. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep. He used to make sound with that bamboo stick which he carries. That jingling thud means the hitting it on the ground, that sound. It would woke us up from the sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of loaf? Why would we run and greet him, meet him? For the love of loaf? No, no, not at all. He says the loaves were brought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. Means some maid servant would be there named Paskin or Bastin. They would bring those bread loaves. So it was not the love of the loaf. Then why? What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Actually, we wished, what we wanted, what we longed were those bread bangles. Bread bangles were simply the breads in the shape of bangles. You can still find those bangle shaped breads in Goa. So we liked those. For those we ran. We chose them very carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. Sometimes he would carry some specially made sweet bread also. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the chang chang sound of his specially made bamboo stuff. That bamboo stick or stuff which he would carry, he would make the chang chang sound with that when he would enter. One hand supported the basket on his head, and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. That's how he would come, and he would greet the lady of the house with good morning, and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. He would, with the support of that bamboo stick, he would place his basket above it, up on that stick, and we kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke. Okay, when we would try to go near, we would be pushed aside with a little bit of scolding, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or a parapet and peep into the basket. We would not leave that place. We would climb a bench, we would climb upon a parapet to just look into the basket. Somehow, and I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves, the typical smell of those bread loaves. I can still remember loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth. In the morning, he would come, we directly came running there, and we did not even care to brush our teeth and wash our mouth properly. And why should we? Says, why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? In those old days, it means the author tells that they used to pluck the mango leaves, and using those mango leaves they would brush their teeth. So who would do that? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushes his teeth, and hot tea could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. So we did not care about brushing our teeth, thinking that a tiger doesn't brush his teeth, and after that when we would take hot tea, it will clean our teeth so nicely after all. Okay, so that was the first part of this chapter. After this, some oral questions are there. Try to give these answer by yourself, and we would complete it in the next video. Okay, till then, bye bye.